Welcome to the Career Dev Podcast, where we dive into the strategies, insights, and real-world experiences that help you navigate your career with confidence. Hi, I'm Dr. Tracy Shroyer. I'm your host, career coach, and professor, and I'm here to help you land the job that you want, grow in your profession, and take control of your career journey. Whether you're job searching, leveling up, or making a career pivot, you're in the right place. So let's get started. Hello and welcome back to the podcast. I am Dr. Tracy Shroyer, and today we are talking about a really common and really frustrating job search trap that I hear about and I see all the time. And this is where a job seeker is wasting hours applying to tons of different jobs and they're not hearing anything back. It's crickets. And if that's been your reality lately, then this episode is going to be for you. So because the problem isn't that you're not qualified, because most of the time you are pretty darn qualified for it, even if it's not 100%. And I encourage people, if they are at least 60% qualified for a job, to go ahead and post. A lot of us are quick learners and are able to pick up some of those things that we may not have quickly and easily on the job. And some of that you'll have to look at the job description to see, does that make sense that you could pick up some of that along the way? But the problem might be that you're using one resume for every job. And I want to talk to you and talk about how we can fix that. So when people are actively job hunting, especially after a layoff, or if you're deciding to do a career pivot, you often think that success comes from applying to more jobs and being able to say, oh my gosh, I applied for 230 jobs or whatever that looks like. And that makes you more productive in the process. And here's what happens. You upload your resume to every job board you can find. You apply maybe to 10, 15, or even 30 jobs a week, maybe more. You send the same exact resume to each one of those jobs. And what do you hear back? Crickets. When the doubt starts to creep in, and it will, you start to tell yourself the story and ask yourself things like, what is wrong with me? And you start to think, maybe I'm not that qualified. This is never going to work. If this sounds familiar, raise your hand. I know you're listening or maybe watching. Raise your hand. So I want to offer you a reframe for that. It's not about the volume. It's not about the quantity and the number of resumes that you're sending out. It's about the alignment. So hiring managers and recruiters don't want to guess if you're a good fit. They want to see a clear match between here's what we need and here's what you offer. And if your resume is general, it's vague, it's not tailored to that role, then you're going to get passed over, even if you are qualified, because it's not fitting that story that they need to see and be clear as day for them. They should not have to hunt that down and try to figure that out based on what you're submitting. So here are some signs that a resume might be costing you interviews. Maybe you're using the same version for every job you're applying for. You're listing duties instead of results. And we talked about that on the last episode about not doing the laundry list of here's all the things I did in this job. Think about when you're posting a bullet point under a work experience, under a role, read it and say, who cares? Who cares? Like, what were the results? What was the outcome? How did you help? What did that look like? What did you accomplish? What did you achieve from doing that? Who cares? You may not be incorporating the job's keywords. And sometimes it's as simple as taking a generalized resume and slightly tweaking it. So I'm not saying you're spending a ton of time on it, but maybe it's 5 to 10 minutes and you found a job and you want to apply for it and you're able to do some scans or you're able to leverage AI prompts that I provide, especially like in the Rock Your Resume course, AI prompts that help you to pull out what are those keywords and you're able to replace them or incorporate them into your resume where they make sense and make sense to your experience and make sense for the job and all of those kinds of things. Also, you may not be clearly showing how your experience connects to that job. And I especially see this happen with people who are switching industries, and terminology can be different. So how do we show that what you did here and those skills can transfer over here? And there's certain resume formats we look at to help with that as well. So I'm not saying at all that you need to start from scratch every single time you write a resume, but you do have to make adjustments based on the role. And sometimes those adjustments are going to be small tweaks. Like I said, maybe 5-10 minutes, those keywords and tweaking some things and modifying them. Sometimes it's going to take a little bit longer. So if you typically are posting for project manager jobs and you want to look at something completely and totally different, and maybe it's an IT manager, and maybe it's an IT manager specific in application development or something like that, then you're going to need to be way more specific to those types of roles and those job descriptions. So there are going to be more massive tweaks to the resume that you put together. So here's what I'm going to recommend. I'm going to recommend that you create a master resume with all of your best content in it. And then for each application, you can tailor it. You tailor typically the professional summary and tweak that to better align with the type of role and the keyword just, in the description. You may change the headline and tweak that. And if you don't already have a headline in your resume, I strongly, strongly encourage that you leverage one, and it's not just a job title. You can learn more about that in my Rock Your Resume course as well. And I work with any one-on-one clients to do that and identify what a potential headline is. And then also any kind of bullet points that you have, you want to make sure that you're matching up against the job description. I also encourage you to use a job tracking spreadsheet and keep tabs on what you've applied to and what version of your resume you have used. There are some different platforms where you can upload different versions of your resume, like up to 5 different versions. And then when you go to apply for a job on that platform, you can pick and choose which of those 5 you want to use, or do you want to upload something new and it doesn't stay in your kind of repository. So make sure that you're tracking it, because once you get selected for an interview, you don't want to have to be guessing which resume did I use. You want to be able to go directly to that. So make sure that you have a good system of tracking that, of organizing the resumes that you're using. And then the last piece of advice, my recommendation here, is prioritize those roles that excite you, not just the ones that are a good fit. One of the exercises I do with clients when we talk about clarity and figuring out what types of roles do you want to post for, it's not just what are you really good at, but what do you enjoy? So make sure that you're looking at roles that you're going to enjoy and not just that you're good at. Because we spend so many hours at work, you want to make sure that you bring some passion to the table there. So I want to give you an example of 2 job seekers and 2 outcomes. So we're going to take 2 fictional job seekers. So the first one is Alex, and Alex applies to 30 jobs with the same resume, copy and paste the cover letter as well, and never follows up. Now, on the other hand, we have Jordan. Jordan applies to 5 jobs per week, tailors the resume each time, and follows up with a clear message on LinkedIn. So can you guess who's going to get the interviews? It's not about doing more. It's making sure that you're doing the right things in the right order and with the right tools. So if you want to learn a process that saves you time and gets results, if this episode has you nodding along and realizing you need a better system, I want to invite you to my free upcoming webinar. It's called Rock Your Resume, How to Build a Resume That Reflects Who You Are and Gets Results. And we're going to walk through a few things on this webinar. We're going to talk about the 4-part framework I teach inside my course, how to align your resume with the job that you actually want, why strategy beats volume every time, and how to create a resume that you actually feel proud of. You can sign up at tracyshroyerphd.com/jobseeker. And yes, it is totally free. So here's what I want you to remember today. Number 1 is you are not behind. Number 2 is you are not unqualified. And number 3 is you don't have to apply for hundreds upon hundreds of jobs. You need a resume that makes your value clear, to both you and the people that are reading it. So next week, we're going to talk about keywords. We're going to talk about what are they, why they matter, and how to use them without sounding robotic. So I want to thank you for spending some time with me today. And as always, keep going. You got this. That's a wrap for today's episode of the Career Dev Podcast. I hope that you found inspiration, insights, and actionable steps to move your career forward. If you enjoyed this episode, please don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who could benefit. For more career tips and resources, connect with me, Dr. Tracy Shroyer, on LinkedIn or visit my website at www.tracyshroyerphd.com. Thanks for tuning in. Keep growing, keep learning, and I'll see you on the next episode.